شعبنا في الداخل أكبر منا، وشعبنا في الداخل علمنا الصمود، وشعبنا في الداخل هو اللي أعطانا شوية العزيمة والنفس إنه إحنا أيضا نكون على مستوى. وشعبنا هو أول من رفض الحكم الذاتي ورفض كامب ديفيد ونتائجه، ورغم إنه يمارس المقاومة بالحجارة. يعني سياسة مقاومة الحجارة في الأرض المحتلة هي الموجودة. لو كان عندهم بنادق لكان استعملوا أكثر.
هل المشروع الأردني الجديد الذي أعلن حول موضوع تمثيل الأردن والفلسطينيين هل طرح رسميا من قبل الوفد الأردني الموجود في تجديد بالنسبة للموقف الأردني بالنسبة لهذا المؤتمر؟ وما أعلن عن ورقة عمل خاصة بالأردن؟
طبقا للأمور الفلسطينيين أبدا خلال أصبحت تنادي الأردن والمنظمة والعراق والكويت في مسؤولة عن الدعم المالي للضفة الغربية والعربية المتحدة.
منظمة التحرير هي الممثل الشرعي الوحيد للشعب الفلسطيني، ولا يوجد
هي أصلا رأي المنظمة، أما رأي
هذا لا قرار، هذا قرار يعني في توصية من وزراء الخارجية إلى
بالنسبة للدعم العربي المقرر للضفة الغربية
في صندوق ستشرف على إنفاقه الأردن ومنظمته حسب القرار.
Go ahead.
Mr. Labady, how could you describe the general mood of the summit meeting?
I can say good till now.
Could you elaborate a little bit? Because before the summit started, there were sharp differences on major issues like dealing with Sadat and other subjects.
Well, the main difficulty facing the Congress is condemning Sadat or not. This is the main tendency, the main problem, you know. But they will discuss on this issue and they will try to find a joint formula whether they condemn Sadat or his tendency or not.
Mr. Bakr, the Iraqi president, yesterday said that if there is no agreement in this summit, there could be a major divorce or a breakdown of inter-Arab relations once and for all. Do you agree with that concept?
I hope that they will come to an agreement between all sides and that there will be no split between the Arab world and that they will find a joint formula between all Arab countries.
Is there a major point which you can say there is complete understanding and agreement on it?
All the parts, all the delegations agreed on Palestinian issues without any exception.
Do they, for example, accept or reject the concept of self-rule on the West Bank?
They rejected the self-rule on the West Bank.
And this, of course, applies to the decisions taken at Camp David?
Yes, of course. They condemned Palestinian issues in the Camp David agreement.
One other question. You have been at sort of sharp differences you have had recently with the Iraqi government. This was quite recent. And before the summit conference started, one of your spokesmen had harsh words against the Saudi government. How do you find these two difficulties being resolved now?
Well, we have already started to communicate with the Iraqi government, and we hope that we will clarify all problems and all obstacles, and we start a new era of understanding and mutual cooperation between both sides. This is what we hope. This is our policy. You know that the PLO is against interfering in internal Arab affairs, and we hope that all Arab countries support the just struggle of the Palestinian people.
How are your relations with Jordan now?
We hope that we will push the relations between Jordan and the PLO to the best and to the benefit of the struggle against the joint and the common enemy of the Arabs.
There are reports that Mr. Arafat will be visiting Amman soon again for the third time, I believe, in recent months. Is this correct?
No, this is not for the third time, but we have no objection towards developing relations between the PLO and Jordan.
Would you still be insisting on a Palestinian military presence in Jordan in future relations?
This should be discussed in the joint committee which should be constituted between the PLO and Jordan. Thanks.
Thank you. ما تحرك؟
We mean by the Egyptian Liberation Movement all the parties and movements which had a progressive line, plus the personalities who take the same position. The main form of the National Liberation Movement is the National Party, the National Progressive Party, the Communist Party, a trend between the Muslim brothers who have stand against Camp David treaties and other trends through the democratic national movement in Egypt as the students' movements within the universities and centers of other political activities between lawyers and other fractions of the Egyptian society. There is also an anarchist party, the pioneers, the socialist pioneers party, and it is a secret party also. All these movements build the structure of our national movement. Of course, there is an action to unite and build a united front between these national parties. All these trends and movements are against Camp David treaties on the time. Asking about isolating Egypt. we must differ between the system, the regime, and the Egyptian people. How to press the regime and in the same time to help the Egyptian people and its National Liberation Party. That's the question. The most important task for our National Liberation Party is to change. لأنه فعلا من فترة to answer the question of isolating Egypt, we must make difference between the regime and the people. And the question will be as how to press the regime and to yes. To answer the question of isolating Egypt, we must make difference between the regime and the Egyptian people. We must stand by the people and help its national movement. In the same time, press the regime by means of political activity and economical activities. But our point of view is that the changing of the regime is a task of the Egyptian national movement and also is a task of the Arab people in the same time. The Egyptian people is against the Camp David treaties and its activities against the regime in that point is clear, and we are in great need of the help of every force, especially within the Arab world, to help the movement of Egypt. That's our point of view concerning that question of isolating Egypt.